Hi everybody, welcome to Google Drive Part 2. Let's get started. All right, let's get started with sharing by talking about how we get a shareable link to a file. So let's say this file I want to share with some friends of mine. So I would simply right-click on that file and choose Get Shareable Link. Google tells me that it has a link copied to the clipboard. All I'd have to do now is open my email and paste that link into an email and send it to whoever I want to be able to have access to this particular file. Now, there are other options that you can choose when you're sharing files with your colleagues or friends. Again, let's go back to this file. Rather than right-clicking on it and choosing Get Shareable Link, this time I'm going to choose Share. When I do that, I get this dialog box, and in the dialog box are some of the options that are available in sharing. For example, if I click on this drop-down arrow right now, currently, my sharing system is set up so that it's set to share with anyone at Virginia Beach Public Schools, and it's set up where they can only view the file. So once they have the file, they can simply look at it, but they can't do anything else. If I were to choose this option here, they would be able to, anybody in Virginia Beach City Public Schools would be able to also add comments. So on the right-hand side of the document, they'd be able to type comments, maybe critiques or editing changes or ideas that I'd be able to modify with that particular document. And if I chose this option, then anybody in Virginia Beach Public Schools would be able to make editing changes. So they'd physically be able to change the document itself. So you can adjust the level of permissions that you give based on these options here. Now there's some other things we can do as well. If I go to More, I can decide who actually is out there that would be able to access this document. I could literally turn sharing off completely. I could leave it on what it's currently set at, which is sharing with anyone in Virginia Beach Public Schools who has the link. I could choose this option here where anybody in Virginia Beach Public Schools who can just simply search for it. And then these options allow me to share with anybody in or out of Virginia Beach City Public Schools. So let's say I'm going to go with this option right here. A total shared, no sign-in required, anyone can access this file kind of sharing. And I'm also going to change the rights from viewing to editing. So anybody not only is able to view it, but they're also able to make changes to that document. So now all I have to do is type in some names of people who I'd like to have access to this file. So let me go ahead and type in a couple different names here. So I'll go ahead and add a name into the people field here. Let's go ahead and add in, I put in Mr. Bastian. I'll select his name, and now Mr. Bastian is about to be invited to be able to access this particular file with editing rights. And I can continue adding more people to my field here. And underneath here, I can add a little note because they're going to receive a notification from me that lets them know that they've received this permission, that they've received the availability of having access to my particular file. So I could add a little note saying, this is the file that I was planning on sharing with you. You should find it in your Shared With Me folder in your Google Drive. So there's another feature in here I wanted to talk about as well before we leave this sharing area. Don't forget about the notify again. If the notify is checked, they'll receive an email reminding them that they now have permissions to see and access this file. If I choose advanced though, there's an option at the bottom that's a nice one here. You can check this box here, which prevents editors from changing access and adding new people. So if you don't check that box, whoever you share this with has the rights to be able to share it with whoever else they want to share it with. So if you don't want that to happen, you would check this box, and it prevents people who you've shared it with from sharing it with other people. Then you hit Save Changes, and that would save those changes, and that person would receive notification that they have now have access to that particular file. So one way you can tell if you've shared files with people is if you see this little silhouette of a head next to the file name or in the folder that you've shared with people. So you can see all these folders that I have on my Google Drive that I've shared with people because it has that little silhouette inside it. And so if you know you've shared it with somebody, you can actually make changes after you've already shared it. You can make changes to those permissions that you've given. So again, I can right click on that file or that particular folder and go to share. And I've shared this one. I'm going to go to advanced so I can see all the different people I've shared it with. So I've shared this file with several different people, as you can see, and I can change their permissions. For example, right now, Deb McKenna for this particular folder can view only rights. But if I want to give her more powerful rights, can organize, add, and edit, I'd simply select that option and I would hit save, and then those changes would be available to her. Those options, those extra options would be available to her the next time she opens that file to work with that file. If I want to completely remove someone from my list who I've already shared with, like for example, let's say I don't want Megan Sachs to have access to this file anymore, I'd simply hit this little X here and it would remove her from the list after I hit Save Changes. And no longer would this file be available to her in her shared with me in her Google Drive. Okay, so let's check out some stuff that people have shared with me. So currently I'm in my drive. Well, let's go to the shared with me folder and look at the stuff inside here. So I have this Digital Summit Notes document here, and it was shared with me by Jen Harrell. If I don't want a file that I know I'm going to constantly look at to live in the shared with me, I'd rather it be in my drive. What I can do is right click on it and say add to my drive. So when I do that, if I go back to my drive and I scroll down just a little bit, now, went a little too far there. Now I should find a document in here in my drive. Here it is, that exact same document that was just shared with me earlier last week by Jen Harrell. And when I open it up, you can see the document and the notes that she took. And she shared these with me. Now she shared them with me so that I only had view only rights. So I can't click on this and type anything, make any changes to it, because the rights are currently set on view only rights. So if I wanted to actually be able to take this document and make changes to it and make it my own, what I would have to do is right click on it and I would have to choose make a copy. So I'm making a copy of that document. So now I have the original one, which is right here. And then I have this copy right here. The copy I own. I can do anything I want with it. I can type on it, make any kinds of changes to it that I want. Then I also still have this version. This is the one that was shared with me that I only am allowed to just view the contents. I can't make any changes to it. So long story short, if someone shares something with you and they only give you viewing rights, you're still able to make it your own by making a copy of it that would live in your Google Drive, and that copy is yours to keep, yours to make any changes to that you want, yours to even share with any other people that you want. All right, so the last thing I wanted to talk about is this new feature that's been added to Google Drive called the Team Drive. So let me go ahead and open my Team Drive. You can see inside my Team Drive I have two things. These are two different teams that were created by people that have added me as a member of the team. As a matter of fact, if I right click on this and I wanted to not be a member of the team anymore, I wouldn't be able to delete it because I didn't create this team. But what I can do, because of the different rights that was given to me, is I'd be able to add members to the team, manage the members of the team, and so on and so forth. Before we get into that kind of stuff, though, let me explain what the Team Drive is. Essentially, it is a shared space for a team. So if you had a group of students that were working together on a project, they might want to create a team drive. Or a group of teachers working together. They might want to create a team drive to save and store all of the stuff that they're working on for that project. Now, how is this different from just normally sharing things? Well, files that have been saved in a team drive folder don't belong to the individuals, they belong to the team. So if someone were to leave the team, the files wouldn't leave with them. All the files would still stay in that team folder. All right, let's go ahead and make a new team drive in our team drive. So let's go ahead and click on new, and let's call this the Google Team. We'll call it the Google Training Team. All right, so it's working on making a new drive or a new folder for us to store all of our stuff, me and my teammates. You can see how many teammates I have, none. I'm the only member so far, but if I wanted to add more teammates to this, and obviously you would, that's the whole point of this, is to hit add member. And then in here, you type the members' names. Let's say I want Mr. Parsons to be one of my team members, and let's say I want Mr. Cruz to be one of my team members. Now I can adjust their membership though. Since I'm the creator of this particular team, right now it's set where they have full access rights, but I could change it to editing rights, commenting rights, and viewing rights. And to give you a more clear breakdown of what that looks like, full rights, they have access to all of this stuff. They can view, they can comment, they can edit, they can create and upload files, they can add people to the team drive, they can delete things, they can move things around. And then editing access, the rights diminish a little bit where they can't do as many things, and then the commenting and the viewing rights really decrease quite a bit. So I'm going to leave their rights both on full right now, and I'm going to type a little message in here saying, welcome to the Google Training Team. And if I check that, they won't get an email notification, so I'm going to leave it unchecked, and I'm going to hit send. And so they've just received an email letting them know that they are now members of this team drive, and it says now I have 3 members of my team drive. Okay, so some other things that I can do in my team drive here, if I click on new, I can add files and folders to it, just like I can my Google Drive. They're able to add files and folders to it, just like their Google Drive. But the difference again is once a file or folder has been put into this drive, it no longer is the ownership of that person who put it in. Now it belongs equally to every member of that team. And that's really the primary difference. So to add a file to this, I'll go to File Upload. And let's say I'll take something from my desktop like the Google Training Offerings. And there's my first file that's been added to this team drive. And if I wanted to take one of these files that live on my drive and put it in my team drive to share it with my team, I could simply right click on that file and go to Move To. And then I could navigate backwards and choose my team drive and choose which team I want to share it with and say move here. And now that file no longer lives on my drive. Now it's been added into my team drive. And here's that file. Now you can't yet share folders, take an entire folder and add it to the team drive, but you could one at a time add contents of a folder into your team drive using the method that I just showed you. That pretty much does it for our Google Drive Part 2 training. We'll see you next in Google Classroom training.